It is day 3 of learning how to paint with my left hand, and it is difficult. I am right-handed, but I probably should have done this sooner. I know I was in denial for a long time that I had to, also stop doing makeup. Originally, it was because I went through some things and I couldn't work. And at the same time, I was feeling like this career, as a makeup artist, was kind of over. I pretty much had done everything I wanted to do in that space. Like I said, did it for half of my life. Countless brides. I worked in a studio as a photographer, a makeup artist, and a hairstylist. On top of that, I worked with big companies. I also did commercial work, and I worked with agencies. I did a lot. And when I was younger, I really thought I would work with celebrities, specifically J-Lo. And after a while, that dream was, it was short-lived, to be quite honest. That was something that I think as a makeup artist, I don't know how it is now, but back then, when I started, that was like the dream, you become a makeup artist, so you get to become a celebrity makeup artist. But quickly I realized that wasn't really what I wanted. I didn't want to live somebody else's life, and I wanted to choose my clients, choose my schedule, work with everyday women, and make those women feel like celebrities. So I really had a great time in that career. At some point, I also had to let go, though, because I still accepted clients in the last few years, even though I kept saying I was going to retire from it, that I wanted to do something else. Sometimes when you have clients that come back to you, generations really, it's difficult to let them go because you did the makeup for, let's say, their prom, and then when they graduate from college, and you become a part of people's special moments. But I also feel that I can have more, if not the same impact that I did when I did makeup, doing something else in the things that I love, in the arts, which is something that has been part of me for a long time, since I was a little girl. And I always denied this part of myself. It was always more of a therapy than anything. It was a tool that I would use when I was stressed out. When I worked in advertising many years ago, that was a very stressful job, and I would come home and just scribble on canvas or, paint dark things. And I started looking at my artwork and I hated it. It wasn't artistry for me. It was a lot of paint on canvas, and many times I would color. Many times I would just not color over them, paint over them. I don't even know how I'm speaking right now while trying to do this with my left hand. But maybe it's helping me not think about it so much. So it became difficult to let go of those things. And even artistry, I let go of it because I just kept seeing it as therapy and something that I did because I had a hard life growing up, and that was a way to deal with it. I'm glad that I had the arts. It allowed me to find peace and healing within it, at least momentarily, surviving. But I also never really enjoyed it. Like I said, I would cover up one piece to then come home the next day and create something else just to get my frustrations out. And eventually I let it go. It wasn't until a few years back that I quit a very toxic job. Not makeup, it was just a regular job. Not that makeup artistry isn't, but you know what I mean. An office job. And I was still taking clients during that time because I was still holding on to the belief that all I was a makeup artist. Even though I've done a lot of things, I have many other skills and talents and things that I can do. I thought I was really nothing without being a makeup artist. That was my entire, let's say, identity. When you do something for half your life, you get used to it, you get used to the money, you get used to your clients, you get into this comfort zone even though technically you don't love it anymore. And it took a lot of courage for me to come to the conclusion with myself, to realize like, okay, that path is over now. What comes next? What do you want now? What is going to be your life? And I really thought long and hard about it. And I wanted to be a source of inspiration to people that have been through traumatic experiences and maybe had no hope, and I would want to give that hope to people. I was on this channel, 2024, and I put a lot of videos up, because I thought, well, I should get on camera and show people how to date themselves, how to love themselves. And it's just not that easy, not everything has a guide. And I think for me, I never wanted to sound preachy. Everyone deals with things differently, and I kind of realized that the only way that I could change anything in this world, for me, for anyone, for the people I want to help, is just being myself. Not that I wasn't myself, but I think through my life, through the things that I will share, hopefully someone gets something from it. Doesn't have to be deep either. It doesn't have to be something that is just completely life-changing, and it can be something as simple as, you know what, I've always wanted to be a makeup artist. How did you do it? I would answer that question too. I mean, I'm open to everything. But I'm mostly here to just share my life and take a chance on something unknown. It's different when you're risking something in your 20s. And I don't know what's going to come of this, but at the same time, it isn't scary. I've risked a lot of my life. I've changed a lot. And I have made many drastic decisions. They've all led me to a good place. And even when they didn't, just everything is part of the journey. You know. As for my art, I began drawing when I was very little. I will share one of my early drawings, the only one that I have. And I always wanted to draw like Leonardo da Vinci. You know, that was the goal. The goal was to do realism. The goal was to do portraits and things that looked like real life. I accomplished that. I didn't go to art school. I had a couple of art classes in high school, but for the most part, I don't know. I really couldn't even tell you that this is something that I learned to do. It's just something that I know how to do. I don't know how I did it. One day I just did. It's a talent. It's definitely, it can definitely be a skill, you know, you can learn how to do it, but I didn't learn how to do anything. I just see the world however it is, but I didn't learn how to do anything. I just see the world and I paint it, or I have a feeling and I paint it. And even when I do realism, I try to change my perspective of it, you know. This doesn't make me a great artist only because I know how to do realism, only because it looks like real life, because it looks like a photograph. What I'm doing today is far from that. But when you grow up loving art, I think most artists' goal is to be able to paint real life, draw real life. A few years back, like I said, I quit a very toxic job, and something inside of me said, start drawing again, or paint, do something. And this was maybe a decade after, 13 years later, after I had never picked up a pencil or a paintbrush. And I picked up a pencil, which is my first love. It's just graphite pencil. And I drew a photo that my uncle sent me. It was so funny. And because it inspired me, just because I was like, oh, this is so funny. It needs to be recorded somehow on paper. And once I did that, I don't know, something happened. I started drawing other things, and again, I never went to school. I was never taught realism. I just know how shapes are created. I know color theory, not only because I was an artist my entire life, but as a makeup artist, color theory is like the main thing. And I will put my drawing up. I drew Joker, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, my first piece of realism. And to be quite honest, I was in awe with myself. I realized, wait a minute, I am an artist, and by nature, it isn't a title, it's part of me. And that was, 3.5 years. 3.5 years ago, I had this realization. But I still wouldn't take a chance on myself. Not until recently. Because as time passes, I think, it isn't fair to live a life doing something that you don't love, because that's what I'm used to. I never had to think about what I was going to do in my life. I thought I was going to be a makeup artist forever. And I've always been really great at business. And then I thought, well, maybe I should have a business. And then of what, One can be great at a lot of things. And I was a great employee as well. Did my job great in management. But I also have more to offer, And so 2025, I took it as a year to just reset, reconnect with myself. I did do some paintings, and I said, you know what? Life is more than this. Life is more than getting upset over how the past didn't happen, over how you wish you could have still been a makeup artist so you didn't disappoint a lot of people. I had a lot of clients that were long-time clients, 15 years, 16 years, 10 years, and they were very sad when I told them I am no longer accepting appointments. I only did that last year. But I told myself the only way I can change my life is if I change my life. The only way that I can do something else is if I do something else. What someone wants for you, it isn't always what you want. I wish right now I could have done makeup and said, you know what, forget what I want, and I am disappointing a lot of people. They love the way I do their makeup. They have confided in me with their special moments for a very long time. And I cried about it. I wrote about it. And the only conclusion that I kept coming to was that I needed to let that part of me go in order for other parts of me to flourish and to grow into the woman that I've always wanted to be, which, yes, at some point it was some glamorous makeup artist, but at the same time I was always wearing black. I felt like my world was so focused on makeup, and that's all I thought about. And I wanted my mind to be used for other things. Not necessarily better, but just different. Sometimes you have these gut feelings, you know. And I have that. I have that gut feeling. And anytime I've had that gut feeling, my life has completely changed for the better. I think too, when you don't expect things, let them happen. You work for them, and then you wait for the moment. A lot of people believe in manifesting what you want, your future, everything. And to be quite honest, I do too, but you have to work at it. Things don't just happen, you know? You think things just happen, but usually you've done something to change the route of your life, of a job, a promotion. You know, like in a promotion, you just say, okay, I'm going to make sure I work really hard and I say yes to opportunities that maybe I don't want to do in the moment, but this is going to lead to a big promotion. This is going to be great for the future. And you set yourself up, you know, next thing you know, a year later, you got that promotion, and it's not for nothing. It wasn't just out of thin air. You did that work. That's part of manifestation as well, is you wanting something different, working towards that, and it will come. If it's for you, it will come. And if it's not, then life will send you a different way, maybe than you thought. And sometimes that that ends up being even greater. I don't know if any of this is making sense, you know. I just want something else out of life. And I hope I get to that point where my biggest dreams can come true. And they've been there even when I was a makeup artist. It has nothing to do with makeup. Just ultimately, I want to help in any way I can. Whether I'm here on earth or long gone, I want what I've done to remain. You know, and it's not about, oh, I don't want to be forgotten the day that I'm gone. It's more of, okay, I left something good on the earth. I don't know. I got a little deep there. I don't know how it looks on camera while I'm doing it. I can't tell if I'm struggling or not. Just, you know, figuring it out as I go. And I don't really know what this channel is going to be about. My life, really. My experiences. Things I can share. Been through a lot. Experienced a lot of amazing things. Terrible things, but, you know, it's all in the past. Sometimes when you've been through it and you've survived, it's so much easier to speak about and joke about sometimes, you know, to say, wow, that was an insane part of my life. How is it possible that I'm here right now? Maybe I was meant to go through that, because now I have wisdom, a lot more wisdom. So the painting that I'm doing is inspired by Christmas decorations that I made one year. That was inspired by Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. I am a big fan of Shakespeare's works, and I was inspired one year. Now I'm going to use both hands really quick, only to get this pointy edge. I'm trying not to use my right hand at all. Yesterday I did do these edges with my left, but my brush, I can't find it for some reason. So I don't have that much control with my left hand yet. Anyway, grew up loving Shakespeare. I took literature classes, loved them in school, and yeah. That looks like a chili pepper or something's going on there. I will have to cover it later. Got a bit wild there. I'll put a photo of that Christmas that no, it wasn't Christmas. I think it was Thanksgiving. I love a good theme. So the theme was A Midsummer Night's Dream. And I did a whole wall of leaves like these. I bought a background on Amazon, and then I put lights behind it, LED lights. It was so pretty. And at the top where the dining room chandelier is, I covered it completely in this soft fabric, and it gave this pinkish peachy hue coming through the light. And I did all these vines, and then smaller vines, and then crystals in between. It was so pretty. Anyway, this is what I'm painting. I thought it would be a good place to start, honestly. I highly think I can do a portrait left-handed yet. I don't have that much control. This is only, like I said, day 3. Some of these vines are going to get covered by these smaller ones, and some of the other decor, well, you know what I mean. I'm trying to do about half an hour a day. I don't want to tire out my left hand because I'm not used to using it. I also don't want to overdo it. The good thing is that when I did do makeup, sometimes I would use my left hand when I would fix, let's say, the eyelashes, or I don't know, just, sorry for the mic, I was brushing my hair off my face, but sometimes I would use both of my hands at the same time because I wanted something to be symmetrical. I would, you know, fix the eyeliner or eyeshadow, anything really. So while it is difficult, I'm not completely new to using it. I think the most difficult part is getting the pressure correctly, because I keep pressing too hard because I feel like that's giving me more control, but at the same time it's making the lines a lot thicker than I want them. As you can see, or maybe not see, it's a lot thinner here. Oh, the gloves don't fit me, that's why it looks like that's why my glove is folding over. Yeah, it's thinner here than like these thicker ones. I'm still getting used to the pressure, and then also the brushes. Well, I think this is probably a good place to stop. I don't have any more color on my palette. I don't want to mix any more and then just leave it there to dry. I'm using acrylics and they dry really quickly. I feel like this here is really, I don't know, it's very straight. I don't know what to do about that, how to make it look like it's less, but I don't want to make it thicker. I'm just going to leave it alone. I will deal with it tomorrow. And thank you so much for joining me. I hope this resonated with some people. Not that I feel alone, but I know everyone's life is very specific to themselves. You know, we don't all really experience exactly the same thing. But just know that if you're in a position in your life where you don't know what to do, I think tapping into what you did as a child, tapping into what you did as a teenager that you loved, will guide you, because some of those things are part of our core and we try to deny it, right? Because we grow up and you have to get a corporate job, or at least that's what society tells us we need to do. And if you need a change, as difficult as it is, work towards it, and I guarantee the outcome will be probably amazing. Even if it's difficult, it will be worth it. So thanks so much for being here, and I will see you very soon. Hopefully you subscribe to my channel, and just know all of my videos won't be, you know, voiceover. I'll be on camera as well. Thank you again for being part of my learning how to paint with my left hand journey. Bye.